Welcome to 10,000 Things, the weekly show where two sisters writing and publishing, we come together to tell you everything you need to know to write, publish, and promote your book. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins,
And I'm Catherine Greenspan.
and we are two sisters writing and publishing. We absolutely love what we do, and we're super excited that we've published 27 books in nearly 5 years, and we'll be celebrating our 5 year anniversary in February of 2021. So, lots of great stuff happening here. Tonight, Catherine and I decided to talk with you about the importance of promotions because writing the book is only half the battle, right, Catherine?
That's right. If that.
If that right. And I always like to say that promoting a book is a 48-hour a day job because literally it's endless. And unless you have tens of thousands of dollars to spend on a publicist or a PR firm to promote your book for several months in advance of its publication and then after, you really have to do a lot of footwork to get the word out if you're not well known. So, Catherine, what should we start with on this topic of promoting a book?
Let's talk about the old fashioned way of having a book tour. Because you had a book tour with some of your books and how
Mhm.
that's evolved, and also what that now looks like, or how people can convert it in these non big group gathering times.
So it's like that seems like 10 worlds ago. When I was first published by St. Martin's Press, I had three novels in hardcover, and then a year later they came out in paperback. And I had book tours, and their marketing department arranged it. They made all the plans for my travel, my lodging, my media appearances, radio, newspaper, television. Um, they set up everything with the bookstores. They had the books ordered, they did the promotions. It was amazing. And now it's very DIY unless you have a big publisher that's doing all that for you. And I don't know that book tours are actually happening during the pandemic because, well, at first bookstores were closed. So now things are virtual. So that can really spoil you if you have a publisher doing all that for you and then step out into the world solo or independent and you have to do it yourself. It's bewildering. But at the same time, the internet boomed and provided all these opportunities for us as individual independent authors to promote ourselves. So that's been really exciting. And the learning curve is big, but I really recommend that you find a platform that you love. If you love Instagram, rock it. If you love YouTube, do it. If you love LinkedIn, be there, big. And so, because trying to tackle all of them is overwhelming unless you have a budget to hire people to do it for you. A lot of people do. So, that's my advice is to find the platform that you love the most and really go with it. Like Elaine Mackes, author of A Young Man on the Front Line, her book came out in December this month. She started a Facebook page and she's had a tremendous response with her Facebook page for the book, specifically for the book. And she had not been really active on Facebook prior to that. And so she tapped into the right audience, and that's key to promoting,
Well, that's
finding.
the other thing is
Mhm,
not just a platform that you like and understand and enjoy and are willing to keep up with as the
mhm,
platform changes, but
mhm.
where your readers are.
Right,
Like if
right.
you've written a business how-to book, are your readers on Facebook or are they over on LinkedIn?
Mhm,
Or
mhm.
are they on TikTok? I don't know.
Right. That's really that's really important to understand the demographics of each platform because, for example, Dr. Thomas Genevieve, Confessions of a Plastic Surgeon, He is a marketing genius and he has written his book, and he also markets his services of breast augmentations, butt lifts, tummy tucks, mommy makeovers on TikTok because he knows people there are watching and they are some of his target audience. So you have to know who, just like when you're writing your book, you need to know who's your target audience. You need to also know who is your target audience when you're promoting. Where are they and what type of messaging will appeal to them most? Catherine, you are a brilliant proponent of Donald Miller's story brand marketing. Can you summarize what that means?
Yeah, Donald Miller wrote Story Brand Marketing, and I think he just changed the name of his program to Business Made Simple. But the gist of it is it's that whole premise that when you confuse, you lose.
Yeah.
And so when you write a book, you're not just writing it to put it out there in the world, or maybe you are. Maybe that's your objective, and that's something we work with people to know. What is your objective? Because if you don't know your objective, you're not going to be able to achieve it, and you're going to be sorely disappointed when your book is not a New York Times bestseller,
Mm-hmm.
or you're going to be pleasantly surprised and pleased when your objective is just to write down the family history for the grandkids, and you give a copy to everybody in your family, and that's it. That anything above and beyond that is joy and gravy.
Mm-hmm.
um but Donald Miller's story brand concept is, who is your audience? And you've got to make your message of your book, for example, because your product is your book as an author. You've got to make the message so clear a caveman could understand it. So it's really just the keep it simple principle. It's don't overthink it. Go where you think your readers are. And again, don't, when you're done with your book and publishing it, that's not the time to start thinking about who your reader is. The time to think about who your reader is before you write it and as
Right.
you're writing it.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Another really important thing to understand with the Donald Miller story brand marketing thing is that you have to know your readers' pain points. And so you can appeal to them in the marketing and promotions. So if you know your reader has a particular issue that's a problem for them, you present your message or your book as the solution to their problem. So even if it's that they're bored during the pandemic and they need to be entertained, you need to present your book as the most entertaining engagement book they've ever seen. And so there's a psychology behind all of it. It's quite simple, but once you master that, you can really hook people in. So very, very important to know who's your audience, also know where they are, how to message them, how to engage them, how to appeal to them emotionally, and then also decide what platform is best for you if you're working independently to attract this audience.
And one thing we realized early earlier this year is that, well, we've known this about our authors. That's why our tagline on our website is celebrating and giving voice to diverse authors. But what we realized is that so many of our authors have stories, just their life stories of overcoming tragedies or really difficult beginnings, and being guided by family members who, for example, never went to college, but that was the goal for their kids.
Mm-hmm.
No generation before them had ever gone to college, but it was imperative to their parents that they go to college and
Mm-hmm.
become something. So
Mm-hmm.
all these diverse voices of triumph, we realized that we have this pool of authors, and we thought this was around the time that a lot of corporations were making a commitment to social justice, and they were making these commitments. And then we thought, well, what are they going to do about it? How are they going to put their money where their mouth is? What are they going to do for not just their employees of color, but how are they going to bridge the gap between making a statement of commitment to social justice between the management and the employees and all the various shades and hues of people under their guide? And we
Mm-hmm.
thought, wow, all of our authors are speakers,
Mm-hmm.
and all of them can talk about their stories.
Mm-hmm.
They've all had to bridge gaps of rivers and caverns and crevices
Yeah.
that led them to write their books to help other people see,
Mm-hmm.
hey, maybe you're the only person who looks like you in the room, but you've got to realize there you have mentors in that room. Or um, Dennis Archer, the former mayor of Detroit, lift as you climb, lift as you
Ooh,
climb.
yes.
So Elizabeth, do you want to talk about what we created from that and what we're still creating?
So excited, so excited. We have been talking about since last summer starting a virtual speakers agency to address the need of corporate America, universities, colleges, organizations to put their money where their mouth is and present speakers who have diverse voices, who can provide not only inspiring messages that make you feel warm and fuzzy about human harmony in the workplace, but also to provide action steps that provide a real change that can be sustained. So we have doctors, lawyers, judges, physicians, surgeons, nonprofit leaders, executives who are our entrepreneurs, who are our authors, stellar accomplishments, and trailblazing histories that they write about in their books. And therefore, they are in our virtual speakers agency. And we've been working on a website, and it's finally all coming together. And we are calling it diversespeakers.net. Diversespeakers.net. We just got that secured today. Diversespeakers.net. And it's going to have a photograph of each author, their book, their talking points, a bio about them, links to previous speaking engagements or videos or websites or what other information can showcase who they are and how they operate as a speaker. And we're really, really excited because our authors are so extraordinary and they all have the common theme of against the odds success with messages of diversity and inclusion that the world eagerly, hungrily needs right now.
Right, and for example, back in July, a company, an HR and payroll company called Paylocity, they wanted to do something special for their employees, so they contacted us and bought 900 copies of Master Sergeant Cedric King's book, The Making Point: How to Succeed When You're at Your Breaking Point.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
if you're not familiar with Cedric King, he was an Army Ranger who lost his legs in 2012 in Afghanistan, and now he is a motivational speaker and marathon runner, among other athletic endeavors. And they gave all their team a goodie box, and each box included a copy of The Making Point. And then, of course, since we're all on Zoom, they zoomed Cedric in, and he gave a very powerful talk to their employees.
Mhm, mhm. So the beauty of that is that first of all, Cedric is amazing, and he wrote his book because he realized not everybody would get to hear him speak. He wanted everyone to have this information that's so uplifting and inspiring. Secondly, it shows that despite being virtual, you can still do major speaking events as an author. And so being a speaker as an author is a huge way to promote your book because first of all, you've got this huge audience. And secondly, you're going to be promoted within that company or on the college campus or wherever you're speaking. And then They're letting people know. And in this case, they gave everybody the book. They purchased the book. So that's a stream of income for you, in addition to getting paid for speaking. So speaking as an author is a huge, wonderful, probably the most powerful punch you can deliver in terms of monetizing and reaching the biggest audience at the same time, unless your book is made into a movie or something like that, or you're featured on something like the Oprah Winfrey Book Club or something. But it's really a wonderful way to reach as many people as possible and monetize your message. And our mother, Judge Marilyn Atkins, author of The Triumph of Rosemary, a memoir, she was the commencement speaker at Saginaw Valley State University, which was her alma mater, where she went back to school with us when we were two little girls. And she realized she needed to go back to school and ultimately become chief judge of Detroit's 36th District Court. But that speaking engagement evolved from a prior book signing and speaking engagement that she had there. And they're like, hey, you were so good. We want you to be the commencement speaker, not for one ceremony, but for two. And it was like packed auditoriums both days, and it was phenomenal. So one speaking engagement can spawn multiple more because people hear you speak and they're like, wow, this can get bigger and better. So it just expands. And Cedric's story is actually like that. He spoke at the National Association of Minority Auto Dealers in Miami's annual conference, and they invited him back. But there were all these auto dealers there. This is at the start of his career as a speaker. All these auto dealers there who then invited him all across the country to speak. So it just has this ripple in a pond, pebble in a pond ripple effect that can just really grow exponentially for you. So you should start thinking about, where can I speak? Your alma mater, your former employer, your organization that's connected to your book message. Where can you speak? Dr. Herman Williams, one of our authors, he speaks a lot. He's spoken at Harvard. He went to the Harvard School of Public Health. They invited him back to speak. He's spoken in San Diego. He's spoken at the American Heart Association because his book is about his heart. He's spoken at many different places. And Mayor Archer, American Bar Association, he's the former president. He's had many, many speaking engagements through them across the country. And he spoke at Harvard as well. He participated in one of their programs. The options are exponential, however, infinite, but you need to brainstorm where you can best speak. And so our virtual, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, sometimes it can just start with a book club, offering to be on a virtual book club with friends or people you know, because it's all about networking. And someone in that network may be the director of HR at a company that is in need of bringing some inspiration to their employees or their management, or
Yep.
they have maybe a corporate retreat that's virtual or something.
That happened with me, actually. I did a lot of book clubs early on with my books, and I loved it. It was awesome. But every member of that book club works somewhere that has a speakers series or banquet where they need a speaker. And I was invited to General Motors. I was invited to Chrysler as a speaker. I was invited to University of Michigan, Columbia University, 100 Black Men. I was invited to so many different things that grew out of this networking through book clubs and other events. So the time is now. If you're writing a book or you're about to publish a book, make a list, all the places where you can be a speaker. And
all your affiliations.
All your affiliations, where you went to school, professional groups you're part of, social groups, even if it's like your bingo club or or your hiking group or your Friday night hangout people. They all work somewhere. They all went to school somewhere. So nothing's off limits. It's just put the word out. And then if you're one of our authors, you get to be in our speakers agency, which is for our authors only. Because we have curated this list of authors and their speaking topics. And again, the messages are all against the odds success, specializing in diversity and inclusion. And so, really excited about that.
So, in summary, your journey doesn't end when you publish your book, but really the second phase of publishing your book does begin. And it's about finding the place where you're comfortable and where your readers are, and then being open to all the possibilities and exploring those constantly for the rest of your life.
She's not really joking, but it has this domino effect, like Mort Meisner, Enough to Be Dangerous. We published that on October 1st, and he was recently on Extra, the national TV show. And it's just, he's had all these tremendous interviews, and that's been the most high profile one thus far. But it's all about reaching out to your network of people and seeing where you can, get some attention with to showcase the message in your book.
Well,
And
and Mort's book has had some fun stories come of all of the promotions. He's had a lot of exposure, and there's a photograph of him in the book at his bar mitzvah, and there's a really attractive, probably like 30-year-old woman when he was 13 at his bar mitzvah, and they reconnected. It's so funny. It's just, and she said she remembers sitting next to him at his bar mitzvah, and they've been apart and classmates that he hasn't spoken with since,
kindergarten.
kindergarten. Yeah. So it's really fun. Your book opens up a whole world of possibilities.
Yes,
It
yes,
really does.
it's amazing. Really beautiful. Reconnections, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we hope you've learned something tonight. Is there anything else, Catherine, that you think people need to know about promotions?
No, just don't overdo it. Just keep it simple and keep it with, unless you're going to hire a publicity firm for tens of thousands of dollars, just keep it simple and do what feels good and right for you.
Excellent. I love that. Excellent. All right. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Oh my goodness. I am Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and this is
Catherine Greenspan.
And we are two sisters writing and publishing, and we're so happy that you joined us tonight for 10,000 things that you need to know to write, publish, and promote your book. We're on every Monday night here on our Two Sisters Writing and Publishing YouTube channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. We hope you'll join us next week to learn more about what you can do to write, publish, and promote your book. So we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and click the notification bell so you'll know every time we go live or post a new video here on the channel. Please subscribe. That really helps us out a lot. Secondly, we wish you happy holidays, a happy new year, and happy writing. We'll see you next time.